why you should be taking a look at this book, Overcoming Dyslexia. Hey, so you may have seen this book before, Overcoming Dyslexia. You take a look at it and you're thinking, holy cow, that's a really big book. And you know what? It is a really big book, but it's one of the most important books as a tutor that I feel that you can check out. So without further ado, you guys, we're going to chat all about why you should be taking a look at this book, Overcoming Dyslexia. If there is one person who knows a lot about dyslexia, it is definitely Sally Shaywitcz. Not only that, you guys, I really like how she gives some tips, not only for for teachers that they can use inside of their classrooms, but also for parents as well and what they can do. And she really goes into a lot of depth with this book, into the history of dyslexia. How did we know it first existed? All of that great stuff inside of here. One good key takeaway that I think everyone who takes a look at this book can all take away from, and that is that early diagnosis is one of the most pivotal, crucial elements to a dyslexic's life. As each year goes on for the dyslexic without being diagnosed, the gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger for them. Not only that, but their self-esteem gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And we all know how important being able to have a growth mindset is. Well, as these kids continue to struggle, their growth mindset decreases. What they see as possible decreases. How they feel about themselves decreases. In this book, she really points out the important part of getting an IQ test for these kids because they need to see how smart they are. She says over and over again when she's talking about these kids that, you know, they all have this low self-esteem, but as soon as she asks them, like, on the IQ chart, where do you think you lie on here? Like, here's like the smartest person in the world, and here's, you know, the lowest IQ. Where do you think you fall? And they always kind of like pointed to themselves like below, middle, or middle kind of area. And then when she actually showed them and she said, you're here, and she could show them how high they were, how high their IQ was, and that there were things that they could do to become better readers, all of a sudden, it was like a light bulb had opened. And I know a lot of parents, they really struggle with this idea of, do I get my child diagnosed? I don't want my child pulled out of class. I don't want my child to be seen as different. And there are definitely benefits to getting diagnosed as dyslexia. And she talks about that inside of this book. She also talked about inside of here how technology can help. That it's really important to make sure that our kids do get the best instruction early on, but then come middle school and high school, they're learning about accommodations and how to be able to meet their needs through accommodations, through different things as well. She also talks about how to protect the legal rights of these kids. They are going to need more time on a time test, right? And so by getting your child diagnosed as having dyslexia, if they do have it, it takes away that time. They're given more time to complete tests in school, the state exams, all of that. And when they go into college, they also will qualify for extra help and also have some of those time limits taken away from them so that they're able to still do the work in a manner that works for them. And I think that is so, so important. So I definitely think that this is a must read for kids, that for tutors, for teachers, for parents. This is also a book that we go through together in the Reading Interventionist program. And that's because all of the things that you see that are embedded in my Reading Interventionist program, they're based off of best practices, research, and evidence. And one of the things that I've been able to do is be able to get results with my students. Do my dyslexic students go a little bit slower? Sometimes they do, not all the time. Sometimes they do go slower. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than 8 to 12 hours for me to close the gap for them. However, not all students that come my way have dyslexia, and they're able to go through the reading processes pretty quickly once you can identify like what those gaps are. The dyslexic student, once they get past some of those phonological deficits, they can actually start going up the reading levels pretty quickly. And so it's really important that we're continuing to have them think at a higher level and really challenge their thinking. They work really hard when it comes to the reading process, but there's nothing wrong with their thinking. They are extremely bright and very intelligent beings. So you guys definitely check out Overcoming Dyslexia. If you haven't had a chance to sign up, in about 10 minutes, I'm actually going to be holding and hosting a webinar called How to Close the Reading Gap, a full year with 8 to 12 hours of instruction. If you haven't signed up for it yet, click the link inside of the description. Come join me, and I will continue to share more information about how we can help kids that are struggling with reading. Thanks for joining me today, you guys.